All right, everybody. Now that it's spring, we're going to do one more giveaway to get seeds in your garden, and we're going to do our direct seed sowing giveaway, which happens to be Ben's favorite giveaway, shockingly enough. Giveaway closes on May 1st, 2021, and Batavia is going to let you know one of the ways to enter.
So one of the ways to enter is by going to backyardgardenstv.com and enter your email address. With this, you'll be entered into the May 1st giveaway and all future giveaways. And then for an extra entry,
head over to YouTube to the Backyard Gardens YouTube channel and watch the video Gardeners Love Spring. Watch it, like it, and leave a comment telling us what your favorite thing to either grow in your garden is or your favorite thing about spring gardening. That way, we know more about you and you might win our seeds. Now on to our regularly scheduled program. What are you waiting for? It is now spring. It is time for us to just get out and start planting. Get out in your garden and stick something in the ground right now because we're going to tell you all about it right here on this Minisode of the Backyard Gardens podcast.
To have a good harvest, one must plant good seeds and must also use the right kind of fertilizer. The carrots have grown large and firm. How good they will taste.
Welcome to the Backyard Gardens podcast, where we talk about all things gardening and give the information out for you to be successful in your garden, whether it's your first or your last. We are your hosts, Ben, the backyard gardener, and
Batavia, the front yard gardener.
One in the country,
one in the city.
Now get ready as we dig deep into this wonderful world of gardening as we learn to grow and grow for change. Why'd you spit?
Because I didn't know you were going to yell at me about it being spring and the need to plant. Like,
can you believe that we're there?
I thought it was going to be like one of those midnight DJs. I thought you were going to have your smooth voice on. That's what I thought was going to happen.
Not for the first days of spring. No, ma'am. Mm-hmm. This is what you and all of the people have been listening for and waiting for is spring. So we have to be high energy.
I have my spring gear on. I have my transition to spring mug. Look, you see what's going on here?
Damn, you are extra.
I'm ready, man.
You're extra.
I'm ready.
Extra.
Yeah. No socks. Let's move on.
Let's move on. I'm in shorts. Let's move on. All right. So we're going to talk about getting out and planting. This week, what would you plant in your garden this week, Batavia?
I am going to plant peas this week in my garden.
You're putting peas in?
Peas. Not beans, but peas. I have some trellis space. I'm going to use it.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
What kind of peas?
You know. Come on. Snow peas.
No shelling peas?
You know, there's a space in there, but I'm not doing them this week.
Yeah. So remember, at this point, it's still a little cool, right? You're probably you're probably going to get a freeze, right?
Yeah, it's definitely, I haven't even reached my last frost date yet. So
I haven't even reached mine either technically, but I'm pretty sure we're done, which is why if you haven't looked at my Instagram, everything's outside. But so remember though, even though that you might be getting a 60-degree day or a 70-degree day even, you can still get a 30-degree night. And that's important right now. So stick out your peas, lettuces, kales, what else? Broccolis, cauliflowers, collards.
Yeah. We know those are a little bit tender, but definitely the cauliflower and they're
a little bit tender, but I think, and I mean, you know, if you live somewhere where you get crazy cold right now, like, I'm sorry, you're the outlier. You know, there's really hot people and there's really cold people. So,
oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Which one are you?
Well, I am self-described hot. All right, I'm sorry. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's you know, it's just pick the right things to put out right now, and you can be direct sowing too.
Yeah. Spinach. Did you say spinach? Please say spinach.
Spinach.
Yeah.
Popeye juice. Turnips, rutabagas, my favorites. Carrots. You know, as long as it's not getting super cold. You know, and when I say super cold, what would you say? I'd say 28 degrees. You know,
I think I'd say probably the lower 20s, but yeah, I think that's a good firm place because that's when we're really getting into like a hard freeze at 28.
Yeah, 28 is what's
below.
considered like a hard freeze. So, but all those
I think
go ahead.
Our audience on the West Coast, we may be past this for you, right? You know, so, but again, we're going to put you in a little box there and, we're going to keep on moving.
Yeah, there's a lot of the other
cool
country.
Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, you know, direct sowing and even putting out your transplants right now. If you're putting them out, you know, you just listened to the mini-sodes where we talked about hardening off.
Yeah.
So it's time to harden off. If you haven't done it, now those things can start to be hardened off too. This is the busy time, man. This is the busy time.
We're still talking about cool weather crops, right? And just again, be careful when it comes to leaving those. I mean, as I've said, leaving those plants out there too long. But yeah, I mean, I think it's time to get out there and get it done now. I think that you are probably at a point where you're spending more time outside, which is really nice, right? You, me?
Oh, I am.
Both of us?
I've been outside the whole time.
Yeah. Nonstop for you. No, absolutely for me though. I think it's a good spot to be in.
It is. It really is. And I think, you know, one of the things too is don't let, you know, the big thing I want to say is don't let that warm day trick you. Because it tricks me every year.
Yeah, so this is like 14-day forecast time is your friend.
Yes.
Right? Because going back to March even, we had, you know, really 65-degree days, which is not that normal for us in March. But right after that, there were some 30-degree nights.
Yeah.
So just keep your eye out for kind of what your temps are going to be. Some of that stuff doesn't care that much. You know, so like your collards and kale, they're absolutely going to be fine. But some of those, you know, kind of more tender cool weather crops. And you just don't want the work that you put in it so far to be for naught, you know.
Yeah. So just to put it into perspective for you, I think I got a 10-day forecast here. My 10-day forecast, the lowest it's going to get is 43 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm anticipating that being really close to freezing. So, you know, just because, and remember, you can have microclimates where you live too. And that's really important. So keep that in mind. Like it might be 38 degrees and you're like, oh, it's cool. But then you got your plants in the shade hardening off and then they're going to get a freeze. So,
because we're still not getting as much sun as we're going to get at the, you know, kind of
correct
where the sun is the highest for the summer.
That's correct. So,
but listen, don't let that deter you. You know, what did you say at the beginning? It's time. Get out.
It's go time, son. Like this is it. This is, I mean, this is the beginning of the most exhausting period of the year for me. I take that back. I'm coming into the end of it because, you know, I was doing a lot of rebuilding and stuff like that. So now it's like moving plants in and out, in and out, in and out. And, you know, another thing too is repotting. Like I've repotted a couple times and now every time I repot, I'm like, oh, I'm running out of room.
Yeah. And we're right in the crux of the kind of split of the season, right? You know, so we're talking about getting out and planting spring veggies, right? But you're in the throes of, if you're starting stuff inside, your summer stuff too. And when I say that, I mean, you're in the throes of actually repotting stuff, probably starting some seeds as well. So,
right. Yeah. And I mean, exactly. And now, so the way I usually do it is when I get my broccoli and stuff outside, I've either already started or I'm starting stuff. And I even succession sow in my house, believe it or not. I'm hardcore. But
I did do that with lettuce. See? I did a really good job with that with lettuce. Yeah.
So what I'll do is when I move that stuff outside to harden off, I will also, because it should be a little bit warm, I'll go outside and repot my tomatoes as well.
Outside?
Yeah, I usually take them outside in the shade and I'll repot them and then bring them back. I don't want the mess in my house. No, let me rephrase that. My wife doesn't want the mess in the house. You know what I'm saying? I will be on the couch quick.
That's the reason why I don't have a wife. You know, it's a mess in my house.
It is. So, but that's, you know, that's at the same time, you're kind of doing both of those jobs and then continuing to sow other stuff like flowers.
Yeah.
Your favorite.
You know me. And when you say sow, I almost always know you mean outside, because that's definitely what I mean when it comes to flowers at this point. There's still some flowers that can tolerate some coolness. Yeah. So even if I have a couple of weeks that are still going to be cool and even dipping down to freezing, this is still a good time to do something like you can drop some marigold seeds as an example, right? Calendula is a good example of something that can take a little bit of a cold, right? So
calendula can take a cold?
It can, yep. I had freezing temps last year when the full grown plants were out,
right,
and they still had blooms.
So you're embarking on a path where I have 8 million questions, and we have less than 6 minutes to get this episode done because this is a minisode. But that's one thing too, and sticking those flower seeds in the ground when it's cold, when they're supposed to be sowed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so for me in my area, I can't plant a lot of cool weather flowers right now because they'll just get hot too fast, or I have to do it real early. So
if you haven't already, any of the flowers that require kind of that cool period, like refrigeration for 30 days, some of those wildflowers, like this is probably, I won't say your last chance, but this is a good chance to put those in the refrigerator. You're still we at the beginning of April, so you can feel free to do that now. And by the time we get around to May, you'd be ready to get them outside.
Yeah, zone 8A, it's about done. At least in my part of 8A, there's no time for that. So, but you can still get starter plants if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, for sure, sure.
So you got it. What else? That's it. Get those seeds out. Get your plants out. Get your ass outside and get to work in your garden, because it is time. There is something at this point that I feel safe to say everybody can put something in their garden right now, be it from the earliest crop as a snow pea to the latest crop as a tomato. I think everybody can put something in the ground somewhere. So unless
it may not be your favorite veggie or flower, but it's kind of like, let's knock the rust off of this thing, right? Yeah. So carve out a itty bitty space and just get your hands in some dirt and plant something.
That's right. Yeah. This is what we've been waiting for. So I'm not going to take up your time. I'm going to send you out there on a mission, and we are going to get you planting right now. So thank you for listening to us on this minisode edition of the Backyard Gardens podcast. Plant your spring garden.
I still have one more thing.
Oh.
Let us know what you planted this week.
You snuck that in. Yeah, dude, let us know. You know what? That's a good thing. Let us know what you planted this week. Hashtag BYG podcast. Holla.
There it is. See ya.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you want to see what we're up to, or just stay up to date on all the announcements regarding the show or anything gardening, then you can follow us on Instagram at Backyard Gardens TV.
We love seeing what you guys are doing, so use hashtag BYG podcast in your posts, and we'll be sharing your gardens with the Backyard Gardens community.
And check us out on YouTube at Backyard Gardens, where we will post this show, all of our other shows, clips, and then also some gardening tips and just gardening entertainment. And you can see us at our website at backyardgardenstv.com. But that's it for today's show. So help us as we learn to grow and grow for change. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later. We'll call this one a wrap.
Now you know why people feel like celebrating at harvest time.
All over the world, people have feasting and good times when the crops have been gathered in.